So 2017 is officially done. It's over. We ain't getting it back. But with that brings the top 10 games of 2017, in my opinion. It has been some year, I gotta be honest. This has been probably one of the best years for games in a long time, not since the early 2000s, I would say. So as tradition, as many other game sites will probably tell you, we have to pick our top 10 lists because everyone else is doing it, and of course I follow this trend because I am a sheep. But no, honestly, I do enjoy this. It just gives you a moment to reflect on what you played on throughout the year. I like to not just forget about what you've played, and because it seems like games these days are very easily disposed of, you know, we quickly move on to the next thing, and I'd like to just sit down and have a chat and discuss what the hell we played for the last year. Before I start this top 10 list, I want to say two things. Number one, this is my opinion. I think these games are in the right order. You may think otherwise. That's absolutely fine. There's no need to shout at me if you're going to shout at me in the comments, which, to be honest, if you think about it, is a little bit sad. So just don't do that. This is just my opinion. Although I do appreciate your comments. You know, I need those comments. I need those YouTube comments. Thank you very much. And secondly, I have not played all the games that came out this year. There's a few notable games that I have not touched. Games like Mario Odyssey, Nier Automata or Automata, depending on how posh you sound, Wolfenstein 2, Resident Evil 7, Divinity 2, Cuphead. These are just some of the games that I have missed out on. I took a 2-month break. What am I gonna do? I forgot. I'm sorry. But I did play a lot of games. I could have easily had this in a top 20 list, but who wants to watch a top 20 list? Oh yeah, I forgot everyone watched that video. So with that out of the way, let's start with number 10 of my top 10 games of 2017. Doki Doki Literature Club is my number 10 game of 2017. I already know what some of you are thinking is, Dan, you missed out on Mario Odyssey for this fucking game. What's the matter with you? Hush. You have not played this game. If you're saying that, I'm pretty certain you haven't played Doki Doki Literature Club. Doki Doki Literature Club, I recently finished. I played it about 2 days ago, and it just about sneaked in here. It is a very different game to what you may think it is. And I know that there's a majority of you watching this who have played this game and they know what I'm thinking about. The main thing about this game is don't judge a book by its cover, because this is not what you think it is. Yes, it looks like a dating sim game with cutesy anime girls and all that kind of thing. This reminds me of Pony Island back in 2016. Pony Island was a game that when you explain to someone, oh, this game called Pony Island, it's amazing, and people will look at it and see that's called Pony Island, and you immediately think, what? Why is everyone saying this is amazing? This is exactly the same scenario. It's completely free on Steam as well, so I'd urge everyone to at least try it out. It's a very different game to what you think it is. It's quite disturbing, and I don't want to give too much away, but if you're into that kind of thing, you know, playing games that will mess with you a bit, this game is fantastic, and it's definitely worthy of being in this list. I promise you that. So at number 9, it's Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods didn't get me the first time I tried it. It took me 2 goes to play this game. The first time I played it, I got a little bit bored about an hour in, and then I just forgot about it and didn't touch it for like months. And then sometime, I think after the summer, I started playing it again just from the very start. And what's good about this game, I don't think this game is amazing. And I know a lot of people wouldn't put it in their top 10 list, but I enjoyed the game because it was something different to like a narrative game. It was the thing that interested me, and the thing that made me want to go back to it all the time was that the characters were really relatable and they were very interesting. and I just kind of, it was like hanging out with your friends kind of game. It was really odd. Like all these characters, I knew or know a person like a certain character in this game, or I look at one of these characters and I look at myself. It has this nostalgic teenage angst feel about it, of like when you were young and how you used to act and how you used to think this was stupid, and you're just like, let's go eat pizza, man, we're so cool, da, 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 all that kind of thing. But it's not like annoying, it's just like, God, I remember when I used to be like this. God, this is so relatable. And that's what it gets so right. It's just, it gets that teenage you against the world attitude so right, and I just kind of like playing it for that kind of nostalgic feel, even though this game is like brand new and it's not like, there's nothing real nostalgic about playing this game. It's just got that feeling of being a teenager again. And you know what? I really liked it. I definitely enjoyed it, and I think it's worthy of being in this list too. Yakuza 0 is my number 8 game of the year. Yakuza 0 was a seriously fun game. It was the first game in the Yakuza series where I finally went, yes, number 1, it has everything I want in the series. It's by far my favourite Yakuza game in the whole series. It's got great story, it's got all the mini side missions I could possibly want, and it's got really kind of weird and funny humor in it. Some of the missions, especially the side missions, are just like the weirdest missions I've ever been on, but they're funny. It's got like a sense of humor to it, and that's what I love about it. And secondly, I could recommend this to friends because they didn't have to play, you know, the last games and last few series, hence why it's called Yakuza 0. It's starting fresh. You can just give this game to someone and say, look, you don't need to know about the story. This game just starts brand new. Just play it. It's fantastic. It's such a fun game to just mess around with. Whenever I want to play something that's like not too serious and I just want to have like good fun with, Yakuza 0 is that game that I played this year, and it was so much fun. I absolutely love this game. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is my number 7 game of the year. I know we saw this big reveal at Ubisoft's press conference at E3 and we're like, Mario? Oh, okay, on the Switch? Okay, that looks interesting, not just Odyssey. Why has he got guns? What's going on here? Why is Ubisoft involved? Now I'm scared. What have they done? I saw a trailer for this and I was like, okay, it's interesting. It's an XCOM style game. Obviously it's nothing like XCOM. It's not as detailed, it's not as like suspenseful as XCOM will ever be. But it's an XCOM style game, a light version that you can play on the Switch. You know, it's a strategy game on the Switch. I never thought I'd get a strategy game on the Switch this year. This is great. I'm interested now. And it works. And it was really good. And I'm a fan of XCOM games. And I was like, I enjoyed this. This is a good game. I couldn't point out anything that was really bad about it, and I was just like, it works. It's nothing super amazing that's going to get 10 out of 10. It was just like a good solid game, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, so it makes my list.
Your whole life you've been searching, and the elders, they've been holding you back.
At number 6, it's Horizon Zero Dawn. This game is a lot higher in a lot of people's rankings, I would think, come the end of the year, but I was a little bit of a latecomer to it. I started playing it in December. I'm still playing it to this day. I haven't completed it, but I feel like I've played enough to give a good enough opinion on it. So much so that I've stuck it in my top 10 list. The thing about me, and there's a lot of things about me that are wholly interesting that I'm sure you'll find out in the months to come, but the thing about me is that I have this thing about open world games at the moment where I don't want to play them because I feel like I've had I'm full up. I've had too much open world goodness and open world cuisine for the last couple of years, and now I'm just like, look, I don't want it anymore. Another game I haven't played, Assassin's Creed. I just don't want to go near it. I don't want to play open world games. They're just too much for me. There's too much to do. I don't find them enjoyable anymore. There's something about them that just makes me feel like I've got too much to do and it's not enjoyable in these games. However, Horizon Zero Dawn is a good open world game, and I would be really, really disappointing for me to say it isn't, just because, oh, it's got so much stuff to do. The thing about it is it does have a lot of stuff to do, and it's a huge map and everything else, but this game has just really interesting way of going about its combat. Especially, I find that you're not just going in shooting these mechanical dinosaurs or whatever. Your weapons are actually more like traps, and you have to plan out what you're trying to do. And I like that. It's different. It's not just going in and just all guns blazing shooting people. There's a certain element to every mission where it's different, and that's what I quite like about it. It's a lot of variety is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of variety in this game, and that's what makes it good, and it freshens it up, and it doesn't feel like a slog every time you play this game. I also love the setting and the environment. Obviously it looks gorgeous, it looks fantastic, but I also love like the setting and how we've got mechanical dinosaurs, we've got old technology mixing in with new technology, all that kind of thing. I really love that. It's a really cool idea. And finally, we have a lead female character who's just not all tits and ass, and is actually quite an interesting character. So thank God for that too.
You can't put it into words. That moment when you look into the eyes of the one who is supposed to reassure you, make you feel safe. It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are.
Hellblade: Sensuna's Sacrifice is my number 5 game of the year. I think this game is more of an achievement more than anything else. There's a couple of reasons for it. There's one where the fact that this game was done by, it was classed as an indie game, and it was sold as an indie game, pricing wise. It was also developed by an indie company, obviously. And yet, look at it. It looks like a AAA game. And this is what gets me excited for the future, that the engine that it uses, of course, for some people may know, is Unreal Engine 4. Now, this is open source. Anyone can use Unreal Engine 4. The fact that indie companies can produce, or smaller teams, I hate using the word indie company, but smaller teams, not the big EAs or Ubisoft or anything like that, can produce games of this quality and not just have pixelated graphic games, because we've got so many of those through indie titles, pixelated platformer games. I'm looking at you especially, my god, there's so much on Steam. But we can have AAA quality games now from smaller teams. It's just exciting. The amount of variety we could have, especially next year, is really, really exciting. Also, I think this is the first game ever to really delve into the subject of mental health. I think there's been a couple of games that have done it. They haven't done it exactly right. I know there's one game in particular that I can't remember the name of, but I think this one has done it right. It's a game that doesn't force it down your throat by going, oh, mental illness is really bad, you should be aware of it. It does nothing like that. It plays the game like a normal video game, but through what you see, and especially this, and what you hear, because my god, the audio engineering in this game is fantastic. You have to play this game through headphones. I did. It tells you at the start of the game. It's much better to play this game with headphones in. It is. I promise you that. It is fantastic. The voices that you hear through Sensuna's head and everything makes you feel like you are in her body, and you feel what she feels. And there's something about that and how they work the audio in that was just mind-blowing to me. The combat as well is really good. It's a little bit basic, but it's enjoyable. You know, I don't mind it being basic as long as it's enjoyable. The story was great, the message it was trying to put through was great, the audio was fantastic, the acting was superb. My god, the acting in this is so good. And the way they used the camera and the direction, oh my god, it was like a movie I was sat through, like a 7-hour movie, and it was just brilliant. I absolutely love this game, one of the most underrated games of the year. It's fantastic. Stories Untold is my number 4 game of 2017. Man, I really love Stories Untold. It was such a surprise this year for me. I think I said in my original review that I just didn't know what to expect from it. It was always throwing something new, and the thing about Stories Untold, it's 4 short experimental games, but they all have something in common about them, and they all link together in the end once you finish the game. But it was always throwing something new, and it always kept me just entertained and always glued to the screen. And also the thing about it is that I hate horror games. Alright? I can't play horror games. This is a horror game. The fact that this thing made me glued to the screen while I was still scared, but I still wanted to push on because I was like, this is really, really good. I'm terrified, but I still want to press on, is one of the biggest compliments I can give it. This game is scary. It has scary moments in it. It works on its atmosphere so well. It's incredible how it just gets the atmosphere so right. And if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about because of this thing they do, but it's so good. It was really, really terrifying at times for me, but I pressed on with it, and I'm so glad I did because it's one of the best games of the year for me. Stories Untold is definitely a game I think everyone should at least try, even if they don't like horror games. I think it will work for you this time around.
I'm sure my mom was just trying to protect me. Now that there's only one of us left, I thought it was time I heard the stories.
What Remains of Edith Finch is my number 3 game of 2017. For the last few years, we've been in that era of, I know that a lot of people call it walking sims, I'd rather call it like story-based games, where you are in control. You're more of the director of said game. You're not really doing a lot, but you're more of the director. You know, you're controlling the camera, you're looking at things, you're just studying little details and all that kind of thing. That's what I consider games like Firewatch and Gone Home to be like. The thing about those games were I liked them, but I don't think they ever reached their full potential. There was always something about them that just didn't go, yeah, it's a good game, but there's something about them. What Remains of Edith Finch is the best game in that genre because it showed what you could do with that certain type of genre. You know, it doesn't have to always be the same. We can mix it up a bit. We can be crazy and do crazy different things in it. And it did. And the game surprised me. Learning about the Finch family and looking through everyone's rooms and discovering all the detail about each of the family members was just riveting. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put the game down. I played it in one sitting and I was just like, this is really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Also, one thing I want to say is that this game had one of the biggest gaming moments, I guess you could say, in the past 16 years of me playing a video game. There's a particular scene and particular moment that lasts for about 20 or 30 minutes, so it's not like a quick 5-minute thing or anything like that. And it blew my mind. It really did. It was one of those things where I was just like, I was staring at the screen, I was like, this is amazing. This is one of the best and most memorable moments that I'll remember from this game. It became the most memorable thing about this game, and it really, really fucking got to me. And I couldn't put this game any lower. It's one of those games that I will look back on and I'll remember that game, and not just that particular moment, but just the rest of it as well was so well made. It was so well made, and this game and its writing is so good. It's a fantastic game. It's definitely worthy of being in the top 3 list, even though you may consider it a walking sim game. It is phenomenal. It is the best one in that genre. I urge you to play it.
You are truly as he anticipated. This is truly an unjust game. But if my voice is reaching you, I beg you, please overcome this game and save the world.
I'll navigate your escape route. Follow my directions. Enemies here?
Suspect confirmed. Cuff him.
It can't be!
Think that all those crimes were led by a punk like this. You seem to be enjoying every second.
My number 2 game is Persona 5. Holy shit, this game got delayed a lot and I was waiting for it a long time. Not as much as some other games like Last Guardian or anything like that, but I think this game was originally meant to come out at the start of 2016 and then it got delayed until Christmas of 2016. I was like, yeah, I can get it for Christmas and play it at Christmas. And then it got delayed again until the start of 2017. I was like, okay, fine, I'll just wait until it comes out. And I managed to get a copy of the game, and I came home and I played it, and you know what? It's the best Persona game I have played. I'm a massive Persona fan. I'm a recent Persona fan if you kind of look at it, because my favourite Persona game is Persona 4, and it's the only one I've played. I haven't touched the other ones because they're really, really long games, but Persona 4 came out a long time ago. And for this game to come out and for it to be everything I ever wanted on top of what Persona 4 was to me, which I would consider one of my favourite games of all time, if not my favourite RPG kind of game of all time, definitely one of my favourite JRPG games of all time. For Persona 5 to come out and be the game that I wanted it to be and be so much more than I expected it to be, and to outright beat Persona 4, I have to consider Persona 5 to be one of my favourite games of all time, and probably my favourite JRPG of all time. This game is absolutely fantastic. Persona 5 is an incredible game. It is just so awesome. I absolutely love this game. I am never going to finish it because, as with all Persona games, they're seriously long games. But I don't care, because that's more time for me to play this game. I don't care how long it ends up being. I just want to keep playing it. I'm still playing it to this day, but I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite games of all time. Persona 5 is fantastic. Also, the music is the best music of this year. Doom was last year. This year, it's Persona 5. It just makes me feel like I'm on a Saturday morning anime show, and I'm part of this really cool club, and we go on adventures with our cats, and it's just like, this game is just brilliant. It's just so much fun, and I just love being in the world and doing stuff, and even doing stuff that's just like the side activity, because there's so much of it to do. Japanese games are so fun, like Yakuza 0. Why can't we make fun Japanese games? That's exactly what Yakuza and Persona are. They're just fun games to play, and they're great, and there's no season pass bullshit or anything like that. They're just great games to sit down and play, and you can play them forever. I love this game. It's one of my favourite games of all time. Before we get to my number 1 game of 2017, if some of you haven't guessed it yet, want to say a couple of things. It was really hard for me to decide between Persona 5 and this game to be my number 1. Persona 5 is a game I've waited for. I'm a fan of this series. It ends up being one of my favourite games of all time. It's my favourite JRPG of all time. The game that became my number 1 game, I wasn't a fan of. I wasn't a fan of the series. I had no intention of buying it when it got first announced. I had no intention of buying the system when it first got announced. I'm giving it away already. But from playing this game, I've become a fan of the system, and I've become a fan of the series. And for it to beat Persona, which is one of my most loved series, to be number 1 this year is truly the biggest accomplishment and compliment I can give this game. So here is my number 1 game of 2017. It is, of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild. It is my favorite game of 2017. I did my longest ever review on this game because I could talk about it for ages, and I did. I ended up talking about it for ages. I had to cut it down to like 15 minutes. I talked about it for like 45 minutes. And I was like, oh god, this review is very long. I need to cut it down a lot more. This game is a incredible achievement. Not only for Nintendo themselves, because my god, that game sold the Switch and now everyone wants a Switch. I know Mario Odyssey was a really good game, it's got really good reviews, but this game got shipped day one with the Switch and the Switch was out of stock. And the main and sole reason for it was not Bomberman, it was Breath of the Wild. This game deserves the praise it got because it is an incredible game that has that Nintendo magic. I never understood what Nintendo magic was until I played this game, and I finally understood why people love Nintendo and why they love their games so much. Because this game had it all. This was the game that when I started playing this, I was like, there's something about it that I can't put down, and I want to keep going deeper and deeper into this game. But also at the same time, it was one of those games that was an open world game, and I was a bit like, as I said before, I've fallen out in love with open world games this year. And, you know, I didn't know if I was going to like Breath of the Wild. I know a lot of people liked it, but for me, as I said, the open world game market for me was just like, I'm not really interested in it anymore. This game was so different from any open world game I've played recently. And the funny thing is, this game was just a back to basics approach to open world games. It was like, here is the world, go find stuff. Just go. I'm not going to tell you where to go, you make your own quests. You tell yourself where to go. You set your own map markers, for God's sake, on the map. We don't need to tell you where to go, you just go find out for yourself. What's that thing over there? I don't know, go find out for yourself. It was that kind of game, and it was incredible, and I can't describe the first 10 hours of playing this game. I was just in awe. I was like surprised at every little thing I was finding. I was like, oh, I didn't know about that, and I didn't know about that, and still to this day, hours and hours of playing this game, I'm still finding out things about this game that I didn't know about. I didn't look on the internet. It's one of those games you just don't look on the internet to find out things about it. You just go into it and you find out for yourself. And it's got that old school feeling about it, of just jumping into a game, not knowing what's in there, and just going, this is incredible. This world's amazing. This is just great. Nintendo set out and they did their own thing with this game. They were like, we're not going to be like every single open world game there is right now. And they did. And it was a breath of fresh air. I couldn't put it any better than that. Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of 2017. Thank you very much guys for watching this video. I know a lot of you are new subscribers after my last video just kind of blew up quite a bit and it's become my most viewed video, so thank you very much for the support on that. That's been really cool. I hope you stay with me on this journey. I'm going to take this channel in various places. I've come back from like a 2-month hiatus. I have older videos, but I'm kind of trying to go in a little bit of a new direction, so hopefully you stay with me on this journey. It could be terrible, but hey, stick around and watch the carnage unfold. You know, that's entertainment, isn't it? Also a reminder, my top 10 movies of 2017 is coming out very soon. It should be out just before the 31st of December, and that will be my last video of the year. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time.